All right, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. I am literally so thrilled to unpack this truly fascinating piece of source material with you today. We're going to be decoding a highly metaphorical, deeply complex prophecy from a modern faith healer by the name of Narciso Olalo. You see, his followers actually believe he speaks directly with the divine. And the vision we're looking at today? Well, it is packed with vivid, almost surreal imagery that requires some serious decoding. If you're the kind of person who loves unraveling mysteries and trying to understand how modern spiritual movements interpret our world, you are going to absolutely love this breakdown.
Okay, so I want you to ask yourself a question. What do a perfectly smooth tree, some scattered string beans, a steep ravine, and, frankly, urinating in a field have to do with the future of humanity? I know, it sounds totally chaotic, right? But as we analyze the source material, we're going to see that every single one of these elements is a deliberate, highly structured symbol. It's like a giant puzzle, and we are going to solve it piece by piece, relying directly on Olelo's very own explanations to his community.
Moving right along to Section 1, Instrumento of Dios, or the Instrument of God.
So, according to the source text, Olalo is recognized by his followers as the #1 instrument chosen by God to spread divine messages. He claims to have these entirely unique abilities. For example, he says he heals the sick using literally just his voice. He claims to possess a power of mind that lets him see the life stories and the sins of both the living and the dead. Oh, and he also predicts future events and tragedies. It's really crucial for us to understand these claims because they form the absolute bedrock of authority that makes his followers take his visions so incredibly seriously.
Now, the core mandate of his whole operation is strictly enforced. Olalo claims that God explicitly commanded him to never, ever collect money. The quote is, without charge even a single cent. It's supposed to be absolutely free. He emphasizes over and over that he's just the instrument. It's actually God's power and the individual's faith that does the curing. And providing these services entirely for free, well, that creates a super strong sense of authenticity and trust within his community. For them, it completely separates him from mainstream religious institutions that might, pass around a collection plate.
All right, Section 2, Ang Mensahe ng 2026. The message of 2026. Here we have a documented Facebook post from August 2026 that actually details the very start of his prophetic vision. The narrative kicks off with Olalo standing in a grassy area, needing to relieve himself. He vividly describes urinating on some fresh string beans that are scattered on the ground, and he specifically notes how the smell is going to become super pungent. Then, out of nowhere, a man floats into view and just observes him silently. It's weird, it's visceral, and honestly, it immediately sets the tone that this is definitely not your typical Sunday sermon. As the post continues, Oladula describes walking toward this massive, towering Siniguelas tree filled with ripe fruit. The catch? It's so tall and so incredibly smooth that it seems literally impossible to climb. There's a whole crowd of people just sitting idly at the bottom, waiting around for the fruit to fall on its own. Oladula, though, effortlessly scales it. He shouts at the trees to drop their fruit, shakes the branches, and boom, a massive shower of ripe fruit rains down. But the crowd, they just stare. They are literally waiting to have the fruit handed to them. And as we'll see at the end of the story, one particularly demanding guy ends up falling straight into a deep ravine.
So the really crucial point here is that this Facebook post was never meant to be taken literally. Olalo didn't just post some bizarre fever dream and walk away. Nope. As the source material shows, he actually gathered his followers on a Zoom reading to present this whole thing as an allegorical puzzle. And the recording of that meeting gives us a really deep, line-by-line spiritual decoding of what all these bizarre images actually represent in his specific theology.
Which brings us to Section 3, Pagsusuri sa mga simbolo, or analyzing the symbols. Let's break this down. First up, the string beans and the urine. Yeah, it sounds crude, but the translation is actually highly specific. Those fresh string beans scattered on the ground? They represent divine messages that everyday people are just ignoring. The urine, which he points out is pungent and strong-smelling, represents his own harsh, biting teachings, spreading right over those ignored messages. He explains that just like urine spreads and creates a scent you simply cannot ignore, his harsh criticisms of mainstream priests and pastors are spreading. They're getting noticed, and they are essentially going viral out in the public. Next up, we've got the smooth, tall Siniguelas tree. Remember how in the vision, the crowd couldn't climb it because there were no branches to hold on to? Well, Olalo clarifies that this completely smooth, branchless tree symbolizes his own direct, personal path to God. He's saying he doesn't rely on the branches of established mainstream religions.
because he relies entirely on his own true, direct faith, he can climb straight up to the divine. Meanwhile, the crowd at the bottom is totally paralyzed. Why? Because they've been taught their whole lives that they need the rigid structure of traditional religious institutions just to ascend.
Okay, the metaphor of the jumping monkey might be my absolute favorite part. In his vision, Olalo describes himself jumping frantically from branch to branch to shake down all this fruit. Well, during that Zoom meeting, a follower actually chimes in, and Olalo totally agrees that the jumping monkey is actually a modern metaphor for how they use social media. Think about it. He's rapidly jumping his computer mouse between platforms. From Facebook to YouTube to Spotify to Zoom, he is relentlessly spreading his message and dropping spiritual fruit all over the internet for people to find.
So what exactly is this fruit he's dropping? The siniguelas fruit, which she specifically notes as being green and red, represents the physical and spiritual miracles he offers to people. The green fruit represents truths that are clear and healing, kind of like the natural physical healings he claims to facilitate using stuff like natural calamansi juice. On the flip side, the red, ripe fruit represents the sweet, mature spiritual truths coming directly from God. So he's up there shaking the tree, dropping these ripe truths and miracles right in front of the crowd, making them totally ready to consume.
Now for Section 4, Hagdan laban sa bangin, stairs versus the ravine. Let's take a second to remind ourselves of that final scene from the vision. After dropping all that fruit, Olalo gets really annoyed that a man in the crowd just flat out refuses to pick it up. Instead, this guy demands that Olalo literally spoon-feed it to him. So Olalo just walks away. The demanding man blindly follows him and ends up tumbling right into a deep ravine. After that, Olalo takes out a machete and starts carving this incredibly difficult set of dirt stairs into a steep hill, all while the onlookers are complaining that he should just take the easy, flat, but super slippery path nearby. So what's the deal with the ravine? The ravine, which is filled with loose, sinking sand, is Olalo's interpretation of the false easy teachings coming from mainstream priests and pastors. He equates this slippery, dangerous drop-off with the modern habit of passively relying on others for your salvation. You know, like just paying a priest to say a prayer or hold a mass for you when you die, instead of actually doing the hard spiritual work yourself while you're alive. It's a path that looks super easy, but he warns it ultimately leads straight to spiritual disaster.
Now, contrast that with the hagdan, or the stairs. Carving stairs out of a dirt hill with nothing but a machete, that is exhausting work. And that's exactly the point. The stairs symbolize the rigorous, active, step-by-step effort an individual has to put in to truly save themselves. Olalo is basically teaching that you absolutely cannot be a passive spectator in your own salvation. You've got to climb. You have to take these teachings and apply them directly to your own life, step by grueling step, no matter how tough the incline might get.
This really highlights his ultimate critique of modern believers. On one side of the coin, you have passive waiting. That's sitting idly under the tree, demanding to be spoon-fed and relying entirely on the prayers of traditional religious figures. And that path, it leads straight to the ravine. But on the flip side, you have active salvation. That means building your own faith, picking up the fruit with your own two hands, carving out those hard stairs, and actually applying his teachings. True salvation, according to this decoded vision, absolutely requires active personal effort. There's just no way around it.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Ang Huling Pasya, the final decision.
Olalo translates the very end of his vision as a definitive, unyielding message about free will. His quote is, "You have freedom, but in the end, you go where you belong, paradise or hell." He is teaching his followers that God isn't going to force anyone up those stairs. People have the absolute freedom to choose that slippery, easy path of passive religion if they want to. But they're going to have to face the brutal consequences of that choice. The fruit is literally sitting right there on the ground, but it's entirely up to you to actually bend down and pick it up.
To make sure there is zero confusion about this, Alalela lays out exactly what building those stairs looks like in real life. According to the source texts, there are 3 exact actionable steps that God requires from every single individual right now while they're still breathing. Number 1, repent for all the sins you've committed. Number 2, renew your Christian life. And number 3, have great faith in him. His point is that you can't wait to do these things after you pass away. The time to do the hard work is right here, right now, in the present.
So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. Looking at Abuelo's beautifully decoded allegory, we are faced with a fundamental question about human nature and our approach to faith. Will humanity choose the easy, dangerous path of passive reliance, the path that ultimately leads to the ravine? Or will people step up and choose to do the hard, active work of building and climbing their own spiritual stairs? It is such a fascinating look into a really complex modern spiritual worldview. Thank you so much for exploring this source material with me today. And hey, keep questioning the symbols around you.